What if the songs that moved millions to tears, filled stadiums and topped the charts across the globe weren't written for the charts at all? 10 songs. Born in church, born in prayer, born in the darkest nights and the most desperate moments of faith. And somehow, every single one of them broke free from the sanctuary walls and took over the entire world. We're counting them all down today, and trust me, by the time we get to number 1, your jaw will be on the floor. Welcome to RnB Grove. This is the countdown nobody expected.
Your folks might understand you.
Number 10, People Get Ready by Curtis Mayfield.
You need is faith to hear the diesel.
And we're starting in a place most people forget even exists on the musical map. The year is 1965. Curtis Mayfield is 22 years old, already the creative engine behind the Impressions, and carrying inside him a lifetime of church music absorbed in the pews of Chicago's gospel scene.
People get ready.
He was not writing a protest song. He was not writing a pop record. He was writing a sermon, and he simply set it to the most beautiful melody his fingers could find.
People get ready.
That's the world that gives birth to number 10 on our list. A song so drenched in worship that when secular radio stations first started spinning it, listeners called in asking what church this sound had come from.
Have pity on those who's jealous.
The answer was simple. It came from everywhere Curtis Mayfield had ever been on a Sunday morning. And the song was written during a season of national devastation.
Jesus harming. You don't need no ticket.
The civil rights movement was bleeding in the streets, and Mayfield sat down not to write a hit, but to offer something to hold on to.
You just thank the Lord.
What came out was a train metaphor, drawn straight from the old Negro spirituals, a ticket, a destination, and a God who was doing the conducting.
There ain't no room.
Gospel stations picked it up first, then R&B stations, then pop stations.
Those who love the most.
Then it crossed the Atlantic and became a celebrated standard in multiple countries before anyone could agree on what genre it even belonged to.
For the hopeless sinner.
What makes this song so extraordinary is its complete refusal to disguise itself. Every lyric is drenched in scripture. Every image is borrowed from the book.
So people get ready.
And yet the secular world didn't just tolerate it, they embraced it, covered it, and called it one of the greatest songs ever written.
Don't need no baggage, you just get on board.
Rod Stewart covered it. Jeff Beck turned it into an instrumental masterpiece, and the original never aged a single day.
All you need is faith.
By the time the dust settled, People Get Ready had been covered over 150 times and named by Rolling Stone as one of the 500 greatest songs in history. Not gospel history, all of history.
Among those who love the most.
Stay with us, because the next entry on this list is the one that changed the entire blueprint.
No hiding place against the kingdom.
Number 9, Respect by Aretha Franklin, 1967. And this is where things start to get uncomfortable in the best possible way. Aretha Franklin has just signed with Atlantic Records after years of being mishandled at Columbia, where producers tried to turn her into a sophisticated nightclub singer and succeeded only in burying one of the greatest voices God ever placed inside a human chest. Aretha Franklin grew up in the New Bethel Baptist Church in Detroit, the daughter of Reverend C.L. Franklin, a man whose Sunday sermons were pressed onto vinyl and sold by the millions across Black America. Aretha didn't learn to sing. She was drenched in song before she could walk. The church wasn't her background, it was her foundation, her language, her entire musical vocabulary. The song we're talking about today was not originally hers. It was written by Otis Redding, performed by Otis Redding first, and received politely by the world. Then Aretha got hold of it, and she didn't cover it, she baptized it. She took it back to the shouting place, back to the altar call, back to every Sunday morning that had ever broken her open and put her back together. What came out of that Atlantic studio session was not a cover version. It was a reclamation. It was a black woman standing at a microphone and demanding, not asking, demanding to be seen, to be heard, to be honored. And she did it with church fire in every syllable. The result was not just a #1 hit, it was a cultural earthquake that rewrote what pop music was allowed to say and how loud it was allowed to say it. A Rolling Stone would later call it one of the greatest recordings in the history of popular music. And if you listen closely past the groove, past the horns, past that voice, you can still hear the church in it. You can still hear exactly where it came from. That's the power of a song born in faith. It carries its origin with it wherever it goes. You cannot wash the Sunday morning out of Aretha Franklin, no matter what stage you put her on. We are just getting warmed up. Number 8 will surprise you.
Quick question, are you subscribed? If not, you're part of the 99% who watch and disappear. Here's the problem, YouTube won't show you our next video unless you subscribe. So if you want more untold music stories like this, hit that button right now, 2 seconds, do it before you forget.
Number 8, Oh Happy Day by Edwin Hawkins Singers, 1969. And this one changes everything permanently.
Jesus was.
You know the song. You've heard it 1,000 times in movies, in commercials, in church halls and concert arenas on every continent on earth.
When Jesus was.
But what you may not know is that it almost never happened. And the story behind it is even more stunning than the music itself. Edwin Hawkins was a 22-year-old choir director from Oakland, California. He was not trying to cross over. He was not thinking about Billboard charts or pop radio or Grammy ceremonies. He was putting together a choir album to sell at a church conference, a low-budget pressing. Something to cover the travel costs for his youth choir, nothing more. He recorded the whole thing for $1,500, and then he packaged it up. I handed it out at the conference and thought that was that. The ambition was modest, the reach was supposed to be local. Nobody in that room had any idea what was about to happen to this music, but somebody heard it. Somebody at a small independent label heard the opening track and couldn't get it out of their head. They pressed a single, they sent it to radio stations, and within months, Oh Happy Day was sitting at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and climbing charts in 15 countries simultaneously. The gospel world was stunned. The secular world was stunned. Nobody had seen this happen before, not at this scale, not this cleanly, not with a song this explicitly rooted in worship. The lyrics didn't flirt with faith, they announced it. Or they described a moment of spiritual transformation as directly and joyfully as any hymn ever written. And the world sang along anyway, because joy needs no translation. Joy crosses every border that exists. Edwin Hawkins would win a Grammy that year, the first gospel artist to do so in the modern era. And the door he kicked open in 1969 with $1,500 and no commercial ambition whatsoever would never fully close again. 7 more entries to go, and the best ones are still ahead.
I'm talking about
Number 7, Let's Stay Together by Al Green.
Whether times are good or bad.
Let's talk about the 1970s and a man who walked the most complicated line in the history of American popular music. Al Green was born in Forest City, Arkansas, into a gospel-singing family. He was raised on the sound of the church from the day he entered the world.
Ooh, baby.
And then, sometime in the late 1960s, he was drawn toward the shimmer of secular soul music, the way moths are drawn toward light helplessly, completely, and with full knowledge of the heat waiting on the other side.
So I knew.
By 1972, Al Green is the biggest soul artist in the world. His voice, that impossible, feathery, aching falsetto, is on every radio, in every car, in every slow dance, happening in every living room across America.
But you never.
He is untouchable, and yet something is pulling at him that no amount of commercial success can quiet. Let's Stay Together was not written in a church. It was written in the secular world, by secular hands, for secular purposes.
Be the one you can run to.
But Al Green did something to it that defied the original intent entirely. When he sang it, it stopped being only about romantic commitment. It became about something older, something deeper, the kind of devotion that has a spiritual address. Critics noticed, fans noticed. There was something in the performance that felt like witnessing a private conversation between a man and something bigger than himself, performed on a public stage, pressed onto vinyl, and delivered to millions who felt it without being able to name exactly what they were feeling.
Being around you is all.
That unnamed feeling was the church. It had followed him there. Al Green would later leave the secular world entirely to become the Reverend Al Green, a full-time ordained minister with a congregation in Memphis, Tennessee. Some thought he was walking away from his greatest gift. He believed he was finally walking toward it.
Since we've been together.
And looking back now, it is hard to argue with him. The song remains, the feeling remains, and the church that produced him never really left the room.
Times are good or bad.
Coming up at number 6, a man who wrote a miracle on the worst night of his life.
You can't always be with the one you love.
Number 6, A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke.
I like that. Come on, baby.
And this one starts in a hotel room in 1964, on the worst night of someone's life.
Let's do that twist, yeah. Let me take you by your hand.
Sam Cooke had started in gospel. He had been the lead singer of the Soul Stirrers, one of the most celebrated gospel groups in America, before he made the terrifying leap into secular music.
Dancing with the older queen.
The church community never fully forgave him for it. Some called it selling out, some called it betrayal.
Dollop and a diamond ring, twisting that make me feel good.
And Sam Cooke spent his entire career carrying that judgment while trying to prove he could hold both worlds without dropping either one.
Ha! And man, you ought to see her go.
That night, with his public reputation bruised and his faith in the world shaken, he didn't reach for the polished pop voice that had made him a star.
To the rock and roller, all here you find the young and old.
He reached back, all the way back. Back to the testifying, back to the witnessing, and back to the church that had first taught him what his voice was for.
Twisting the night away, twisting.
What came out was not a pop song. It was a prophecy set to music.
Round, swing it, fellas.
A declaration of coming freedom built on the deepest kind of faith, the kind that insists on hope when the visible evidence says otherwise.
Twisting, man, everybody's feeling great.
The train imagery, the river imagery, the cry toward heaven, it was all borrowed from the old spiritual tradition he had never truly left. The song was released quietly, almost as an afterthought.
Twist. Some fellas just brought out a song.
Sam Cooke was killed just weeks later and never witnessed what it became.
Twist the wire. Yeah. Everybody still on.
But it survived him. It became the anthem of a movement, the soundtrack of a people's most desperate and most determined season.
I love to go round. I got to.
It became the song you played when you needed to believe that the arc was long, but that it bent. Or A Change Is Gonna Come is among the most important recordings in the history of American music.
Go round.
It was written by a gospel singer on the worst night of his life, and it has been comforting people on their worst nights ever since. Halfway through the countdown, and number 5 is where this gets truly unbelievable. Number 5, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, 1971. And we need to talk about Marvin Gaye, not Marvin Gaye the smooth romantic, not Marvin Gaye the troubled legend. Marvin Gaye, the preacher's son, raised in the house of a Pentecostal minister in Washington, D.C., who grew up understanding that music was not entertainment. It was ministry. It was a conduit for something that words alone could never carry. That upbringing never left him. Even when his records were selling by the millions, even when he was the biggest name at Motown, you could hear the pulpit in his phrasing. You could hear the altar call in the way he approached a note from below and lifted it, lifted it, lifted it, until it became something that stopped being about the song and started being about the soul. What's Going On was not welcomed at Motown. Berry Gordy thought it was too political, too risky, too far outside what R&B radio would accept.
What's going on? Tell me what's going on.
Marvin Gaye disagreed. He had written something that was not just a song, but a prayer, a cry directed at a country tearing itself apart.
Tell you what's going on.
Delivered in the voice of someone who had spent his whole life being taught that God hears when his people cry.
Right on. Right on.
Marvin won the argument. The album was released over the label's objections and immediately became one of the best-selling records in Motown's history.
Talk to me so you can see.
It didn't just sell, it changed the entire conversation about what black music was allowed to say, to feel, to demand. It opened a door that soul music had never walked through before.
Simply 'cause our hair is long.
What Marvin Gaye did was take the prophetic tradition of the black church and point it directly at the evening news. He didn't whisper it, and he sang it with that gentle, devastating, completely sincere voice of his.
Oh, what's going on?
And 40 million people stopped and listened, many of them hearing the church in a song for the very first time without realizing that's what they were hearing. The preacher's son, the artist, the prophet. One body, one voice, one record that the world was not ready for and could not stop playing.
Pick it loud and pick it sound.
4 left, and number 4 is a story nobody knows is a church story.
What's going on, baby?
Number 4, You Are So Beautiful by Joe Cocker. And this is the hidden one. This is the one most people have heard 1,000 times without ever knowing what they were really hearing. The song was written in 1973 by Billy Preston, a man who had played piano for gospel legend Mahalia Jackson as a child, who had toured with Little Richard, and who carried the church inside him everywhere he went.
So beautiful.
Billy Preston wrote this song not as a love song, but as a hymn. The original intention was devotional. The object of the song's adoration was God. When Joe Cocker recorded it in 1974, the lyric remained almost entirely unchanged. And what Cooke did with that lyric, with that voice, unweathered and torn and soaked in something that sounded older than rock and roll, was deliver it with the kind of aching sincerity that only lives in genuinely sacred music. The world heard a love song. They heard a man pouring his heart out to someone he adored, voice breaking under the weight of it. But every image in that song, every word of surrender and wonder and gratitude maps directly onto worship. The wonder, the beauty, the everything that is the language of the sanctuary, not the language of the pop chart.
So beautiful.
The song reached the top 5 and has been a staple of weddings, funerals, and every tender moment in between ever since.
So beautiful.
It was licensed for dozens of films. It became one of the most recognizable recordings of the decade, and most people who have wept to it have never known they were weeping to a hymn.
You are so beautiful.
That is the quiet miracle of sacred music placed in secular spaces. It does not need your theology to reach you. It does not need you to understand where it came from. It just needs your ears and an honest moment. And then it does exactly what it was originally designed to do. 3 entries left. Number 3 is the one that made gospel music respectable in rooms it had never been invited into before. Number 3, Move On Up by Curtis Mayfield.
People where there's only one kind.
And this one hit like a freight train in 1970 and never stopped moving. Curtis Mayfield appears on this countdown twice, and he earns every appearance. Because the man was not writing songs. He was writing scripture for people who had stopped going to church but still needed to hear the word.
Just move on for your destiny.
He was a minister who had chosen the recording studio as his pulpit, and he never once forgot what he was there to do.
Nation, though you may find from
Move On Up was released as a single in the UK in 1971, and what happened next became one of the most unlikely chart stories of the decade.
time to time complications.
The song was over 8 minutes long in its album version. It had a gospel choir energy beneath a funk rhythm that should not have worked on pop radio and worked completely.
Do it. So hush not, child.
The message was unambiguous: rise, persist, push forward, God is watching. I do not quit. The brass section alone sounds like a call to worship.
Into the steeple of
The rhythm feels like a congregation that has been told the truth and cannot stop moving.
beautiful people where there's only one kind.
And Curtis Mayfield's voice sits over all of it with the calm authority of a preacher who has already read the end of the book and knows how the story finishes.
From time to time complications.
The song became an anthem across multiple continents and multiple decades.
Bite your lip.
It was sampled, covered, and licensed into films and advertisements for 50 years after its release.
And take the trip. Though there may
And every time it played in a car, in a club, in a training montage, in a political rally, it carried that original charge with it.
be wet road ahead, and you cannot slip.
The charge of a man who grew up in the church and never stopped believing that people needed to be told to rise.
Just move on.
Curtis Mayfield built his entire career on that belief. And the world kept buying it because deep down, in the place where the church lives inside everyone, whether they attend or not, people already knew he was right.
To the steeple of beautiful people where there's only one.
2 left. Number 2 will take you somewhere you have never been before.
Then the supreme best.
Number 2, Precious Lord, Take My Hand by Al Green, 1982. and a transformation so complete, so total, that the man who emerged from it barely resembled the man who went in. Al Green appears on this countdown twice, and the second appearance is the more powerful one. Because by 1982, he had already walked away from the record deals, the tours, the hit singles, the fame.
I want to get out from here!
He had purchased a church in Memphis, been ordained, and stepped into full-time pastoral ministry.
Let's take it up a little higher, come on!
The music world mourned him as though he had died. They were wrong about what had actually happened. He went back into the studio not to reclaim market share, but to make an act of pure worship. The album he recorded was a collection of hymns and gospel standards, performed with the same devastating precision that had made him famous but pointed entirely toward heaven. I know ambiguity, no one eye on the pop chart, a man who had made his choice, making music from inside the fullness of that choice. Precious Lord, Take My Hand was written by Thomas Dorsey in 1932, on the night his wife died in childbirth. It is the most honest song ever written about the human need to be held by something stronger than yourself. It has been sung at the funerals of presidents and at the bedsides of the dying. Mahalia Jackson sang it at the funeral of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It carries the full weight of Black American suffering and faith in every note. Al Green sang it in 1982 with a voice that had been through enough to understand every word. The recording crept out of gospel radio and into mainstream consciousness without a single mainstream promotional push. It found its audience the way truth finds its audience, by being too real to ignore.
We need to sit down and...
The track won the Grammy for Best Soul Gospel Performance. It put Al Green back in the cultural conversation in a way that no secular comeback could have matched, because it was coming from his deepest, most settled, most honest place. The world felt the difference. One entry left, number one. Without any question, the most unlikely crossover story in the history of recorded sound. Number one, Oh Happy Day by Edwin Hawkins Singers, 1969. Oakland, California, a choir rehearsal recording, $1,500, and 4 million copies sold worldwide. We told you the story earlier in this countdown, but here is what we did not tell you. Here is the part that still does not make complete logical sense, no matter how many times you examine it.
Oh, happy day.
Edwin Hawkins was not trying to make history. He was not trying to cross over, break barriers, or change the music industry.
When Jesus was.
He pressed 8,000 to 10,000 copies of a conference album, distributed them to church people at a youth gathering, and considered the project complete.
Oh, when it was.
The commercial world was not part of the plan. The commercial world was not supposed to be involved at all. And then a San Francisco radio DJ played it once. The phones lit up. He played it again. And same response. He played it a third time, and by the next morning, record stores across the city were being asked for a song that did not exist in any distribution catalog anywhere in the country. Within weeks, Oh Happy Day was on pop radio across America. Within months, it was on pop radio across the world. It spent 3 weeks in the top 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. It went to number 1 in the UK, in Germany, in France. It sold over 4 million copies globally for a recording made in a church with a $1,500 budget and zero commercial ambition. never offered the secular world a side door to enter through without committing to what the song was actually about. He washed my sins away. That was the lyric.
When Jesus was, he washed.
That was the chorus that 4 million people sang along to in languages they may not have fully understood.
Every one of my sins away.
In countries where the theology may have been completely foreign, no song in recorded history has traveled further from its original context to reach the mainstream. No story makes the case more powerfully that authentic, unguarded, unashamed sacred music does not narrow an audience, it obliterates the walls between audiences entirely. Joy needs no translation. Faith, when it is real enough, needs no marketing. Edwin Hawkins made a rehearsal recording for a few hundred church kids in Oakland, and the world bought it by the millions, and nobody has ever fully explained why. But the answer, if you listen closely enough, is somewhere inside the music itself. That is the power of a song born in God's house. It goes exactly where it needs to go, and that is our countdown. 10 songs, 10 stories, 10 moments when the walls between the sacred and the secular came down and the whole world got to hear what was happening on the other side.
Every one of my sins away. And I'm so glad about it.